dreams over bacon and eggs. We'll share a laugh and a story and even a wish on the breakfast dish. Bop, 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 bop.
Good morning, everybody, and welcome to the 19th episode of The Breakfast Dish. 1919. Karen, we already kind of reflected on the last episode when it was 18. How does 19 make you feel? Almost 20, almost 2 decades.
Well, 19 is when I was leaving high school and going off to college. So it was learning things in a school. I was leaving one school and moving to another school for more education. In fact, it was arts learning. I was learning a lot about arts at college.
For a moment there, I now see what you're doing, but for a moment there, I thought you were chastising me that I didn't go to school when I was 19, even though I absolutely did.
Yeah.
I do know now what you're doing, which is the exact same age that I went to post-secondary, but I thought you were nuanced chastising me for wasting my 19-year-old year of life, I guess.
I would never chastise you because you even took a gap year, but you spent that year at Alberta Theatre Projects as the D. Michael Dobbin apprentice.
Yeah.
And that was probably a really formative year of your life. So any sort of place where you can, learn about art or things like
You're doing
I'm
great.
pimping
But
our
I
guest,
need
like
to
I'm
just...
really working towards our guest here.
You are. It's the buildup is great, but I need to jump in and I just need to chastise you because absolutely you will chastise me because I was re-listening to our episode 2 with Haysom Kadri, and the amount of times that you've asked me on podcast live on air, is that why you moved out? I've had to dodge that bullet of a question about 6 or 7 times.
I'm glad I didn't ask you if you need to pee. Do you? Do you need to pee?
No, now let me just say, you have absolutely asked me that. But here's what I have to ask you, Karen. What do we do on the breakfast dish?
On the breakfast dish, we celebrate, we amplify, we talk about, we support any sort of art, theater, music, writing, visual arts, dancing, jumping up and down, spoken word poetry, and drumming. Anything that's happening online or in a socially distanced fashion during these times of stay away from each other.
Just a quick message to all of our listeners. I need to make sure that everyone knows this. If you have a show or a class or a workshop about jumping up and down, I need you to come tell me because I will kick out every other scheduled guest we have and put you in the front of the queue if your entire activity is jumping up and down.
That would be Dean Barham from Green Fools. He would just jump up and down. That's all he would do.
Green Fools are so multifaceted. How dare you?
I mean, I guess what I'm saying is I love Dean Barham, so if all he wanted to do was jump up and down, I'd pay money for that.
Would you pay money for would you pay money for a school about jumping up and down?
If only there was some place that offered online classes that might feature fun people like, I don't know, Erin Coates or Cheryl Hutton, places where I could learn interesting new art tricks that I didn't already know.
That's right. And I don't want any kind of boring school. So I want a school that's named after like a party or like a fantastic Fantasia experience.
Or a building.
Yeah. Or the shortened word of a building. That's what I want in my schooling.
Wow school. Lougheed House School. No.
How about this? Think of like candies. How about like the latter half of a name of a candy?
Wait, if you're speaking about Jubes, aren't the first half and the second half the same word?
Yeah, they're both the same. I did realize that.
Yes, we have moved successfully towards introducing Jube School as an excellent online resource for classes for kids, adults, families, and especially teachers. And our guest today is the fabulous Karen Youngberg from Jube School. Hi, Karen.
Hi, thanks for having me.
Listeners, I need you to go back to the rest of our episodes, and I promise we get to our guests way more smoother than this one. Way smoother.
So good. I was entertained.
Yay. Karen, can I just say, great name.
I know, I'm digging yours too.
Thanks. Karen and I have known each other for 100 years when we worked at Quest Theatre together even. And so we have called each other Karen Squared for a long time.
Correct.
You've called each other Karen Squared?
Well, we were Karen's grade.
in the same room, Karen
No,
squared.
I do understand that. I do understand the math behind it. Thank you.
Anyway,
A force to be reckoned with, at any rate. How's that?
There we go. Now we're getting it. That's right.
Karen, I was talking to Jonathan Love, who is, I don't know, he's not your boss at Jube School. He's like a co-worker. He's a colleague at Jube School. What is
Well, he is the executive director of the Alberta Jubilee Society. So yes, he is my boss.
You said it so cavalier, JT. I don't know. He's not your boss.
Okay. Hey, Karen, I was speaking to Jonathan Love, who's the executive director of the Alberta Jubilee. You say it.
This is good. Hi. Hey, Karen, listen. Karen was speaking to your boss, Jonathan Love, who's the executive producer of the directing of Jubilee Arts Time. Was that good?
Close.
Anyway, what he said about you is that, okay, first of all, he admires the bedoodles out of you. But second of all, he's so impressed with your ability to pivot and move what you guys were doing live online or offer it as well online. So start from the beginning. Tell us everything.
Well, from the pivoting or how it all started?
I kind of want to hear a little bit about the origin of Jube School. Jube School. Oh my God. Just the one Jube School. Because I'm right that it's fairly new, like within the last, I want to say like 6 or 7 years.
Yeah.
4 or 5. Oh my goodness. Yeah. Okay. So I definitely want to hear about the conception, or as much as you know.
Absolutely. So I left Quest Theatre back in whenever that was, and I landed at the Jubilee Auditorium. And in Edmonton, they had a 5-day Jube School program where one class came in for 5 days. And I was like, what is this magic? So I knew, connecting to our schools, because that's what I used to do at Quest, I was like, oh, look out, world. And I knew that we needed to create connection and identity to the arts, and they were going to do it at the Jubilee. So we found Campus Calgary Open Minds. It's a program supported by the Calgary and Catholic school boards, and we partnered with them, and I just started to create and introduce classes to the Jubilee. But what I knew had to happen is that there had to be joy. If we didn't find the joy in it, there wasn't going to be connection. So it was through joy of dance and lighting and visual arts that here we are today. No one ever said no to me, so I kept going.
Oh, how could anyone say no to you? Seriously.
I don't know how I got here. No one said no. I really thought. I love that's an excellent way of thinking.
Right?
Back before Stay Away from Each Other times, an entire class of, let's say, grade 5s from Calgary Fabulous High.
Calgary Fabulous High.
Elementary.
Grade 5s from Calgary Fabulous Elementary School would come spend an entire week. Like, would they spend all day for 5 days at your school?
That's right. They would come Monday through Friday. Bus would pick them up at 10 minutes after the bell and drop them off to school 5 minutes before the bell. They eat lunch. They do everything. So typically a week, we have a guiding question of what is community? How does the Jubilee add value to our community? How do the arts add value? What is value? So we have a guiding question that actually connects the learning all back together.
And this is, sorry, Griffin, you don't get to ask any questions, just me.
I would never.
When they're there, I'm talking about before the Stay Away from Each Other times. When they were there, would they have different lessons through the day, different instructions, or would it be visual arts all week?
Oh, no. It is a program that connects them to the technical, visual, and performing arts. So it's through these connections that they really start to identify with the arts. So they probably come in contact with 10 to 14 experts in the week. Our Jubilee technicians, the people who just work in the building, but artists out in our community who come in to work with us as well.
Right, which is also a very impressive facet of the Jube School in terms of the regular staff that you guys have is, the Carla McKees and the Luke Tellier is just amazing. But even expanding beyond that, the guest artists that you bring in from the local community, it's massive. It's amazing, the roster.
Absolutely. Man, I'm so lucky because artists phone us to say, how can I come and play? And it's like, well, what do you want to do? We have a grade 6 class, right? So I've never had a no. So I'm really lucky. Again, it's that no one's saying no. So it's just this right thing of moving forward.
So just go.
So let's do it, right?
Well, I mean, yeah, I definitely think the artists that you brought on are very giving and very excited about what you're doing. So I think there is a certain amount of luck associated with that. But I think it's also on you to build that environment of play, and maintain that a certain ecosystem that play is encouraged and allowed. So it's not all luck. You've been doing quite a bit of work.
Thanks. No, I've been doing a whole lot of play. And it's a privilege.
And speaking of a whole lot of work, this is a little tidbit that one of my teacher friends told me. And this is why the pivot is so impressive in my eyes. Is someone told me once, I might get the number wrong, but to properly transfer an in-person class to an online class, and right now I'm thinking of like a high school class, like whatever, chemistry, it takes, again, I don't remember which number it is, but it's either 1 year or 3 years. But either way, very impressive that you guys pivoted the way that you did.
Holy smokes.
Especially for the more personal acting, performing, hands-on tech hang-a-light classes. Like, that's impressive.
Yeah, that was a lot of work.
yeah, I bet.
Just hearing you say that, I'm like, oh yeah, there were some really sleepless nights of working with people, Paula Tim, who built our website, or, organizing with Mandy Stobo or Dean Barham, and Carly being on the other side going, what are we doing for this? I'm like, I don't know. It's all changing. Brace yourself. So everyone just went along for that ride on that pivot, because we knew that, here's what we knew. We had to become masters at social media and all the platforms. So Carly and I took social media classes.
Nice.
So we added Pinterest, which actually gets...
Jube School's on Pinterest?
It is, and it gets like 12,000 hits.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, Jube School, I can see, is very Pinteresting.
Yeah, it is Pinteresting. And we created a YouTube channel.
Right.
Because YouTube, I believe, is a Google platform, it's easier to get into classrooms. Right? Method to the madness. Enough. So we knew we had to become kind of experts, or at least know what we were doing. And then it was let's give this a go. And we started with the visual arts, Mandy Stobo, who, of course, at the time of pivoting, she was already doing this.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So she, kind of held our hands and took us through our first guided visual art workshop. And it was magic. 600 people turned up. I know. Like,
on your first one?
On our first one.
Yeah, that's huge.
Yeah. So as we went along, we can do this with summer camp. So summer camp, we had 34 artists, 43 workshops, and 630 participants.
Oh, my Lord.
From across Canada, the U.S., and France.
See, this is the exciting part. I mean, if you're looking for a silver lining, it's that anybody can watch Cheryl Hutton make cupcakes that look like burgers. You don't have to live in Calgary. Everybody, Cheryl Hutton taught a class on how to make cupcakes look like little mini burgers. It was the best day on Facebook because all my friends' kids were putting their pictures on Facebook of the burger cupcakes.
Well, and the beautiful thing...
I'm watching all of Karen's physical reactions.
Totally. I'm like, Cheryl? Because she was like, all of us. I don't think anybody knew how to really do online. So it was like, well, here's what we recommend. So honestly, if you could see the artist set up, I think Dean Barham had a ladder with an iPad duct taped to the ladder that overlooked his workspace. Cheryl Hutton had a stack of books with a phone that overlooked her baking space.
Oh.
So all of us had these crazy setups that, yeah, somehow it all happened. It all
Because
worked.
somebody was asking me the other day, what does it mean to be an artist? I think I've said this a million times. What does it mean to live a creative life? And for me right now, the last 9 months have been, if you are an artist and a creative person, this transition has been way easier for you than anybody else, because we're meant to think of 6 different ways this could happen and think outside the box.
100%. It's what we do. It's how we're built. It's not often you'll find us in the corner weeping.
Nobody puts Jube School in the corner.
That's right.
Somebody said that last week. Barb Mitchell said that during our call with Occasional Notes last week. Nobody puts Neil in the basement.
Oh, I thought you said Barb Mitchell said nobody puts Jube School in the corner.
No, close.
There are so many things that we should cover, but I have one that I want to ask very specifically about. I think it's one class that I saw, and it's socially distant sword fighting. Am I right about that? Is that what it's called?
Well, no, no, it's called stage combat.
Okay.
But we've promised that it will be socially distanced.
Karen, how?
I don't know how it's going to roll because I'm not the expert in that, but Larissa does. Here's what I know.
Larissa Yanchak?
Yes, pure magic all the time. Here's what I know at Jube School. We have probably 100 pool noodles ready to go for stage combat at any given time. So we are able to sanitize, clean, do all of that. So if for some odd reason they need different swords, they got, longer ones or shorter ones.
Okay, everybody, today for stage combat, we're going to be dealing with slingshots and throwing knives. Everyone get onto either side of the wall. Group A, you're dodging first.
Stand by.
Take your masks off so that you can use the blow darts. All right now.
That's right. Group B, put on your target t-shirts and run.
Now, this is a class that's actually happening in person.
That's right. So we have a teacher professional development happening because we've heard from the teachers that they need some help in stage combat just to review techniques and the language, right? There's a whole language that goes around with that. So December 6th, 9:30 till 11 a.m., stage combat.
That might be one of the performing or theatrical aspects that I thought would return like one of the slowest. Probably rather before kissing, but I think stage combat, like I'm thinking of like especially hand to hand or punches or whatnot. I can't believe that that's coming back. That's so very cool, you guys.
Yeah, we'll see how this goes, right? Because it's really about technique and the language and understanding it. But in November, we have Aaron Coates, the lovely and talented Aaron Coates with us. And he's super talented in so many things. He blows my mind.
He's going to be teaching how to direct improv.
That's right. So how to direct improv and devise theater.
Yeah, and I think I've also seen him teach acting, scene study, Meisner. He does voice workshops. It's kind of baffling.
Camera, physical comedy, da-da-da-da-da. He was the co-producer and the director for a number of years, 8 years maybe, for Dirty Laundry, the long-form improvised soap opera. So he's the man that will tell you how to get the best out of your students for improv. He's fantastic.
He really is.
And so in total, how many classes are happening right now? Is that a crazy question?
I'm like, how many are happening?
I know, it's huge.
So right now, there's yoga at the Jubilee in Calgary, in Edmonton. The amazing Kate Love will be there teaching us how to stretch and feel better. But we've also, so in person, we have our teacher PD and our yoga. But online, we've just launched our Mindful November. And this is for people at home and teachers and in the classrooms, a chance for them to learn some mindfulness techniques through the arts.
Great.
So last week, we launched it with Michelle Dyer and Paula Tim. We had 1,500 students on the live call, and it was transforming for some of these teachers. I mean, some of them said, I don't know who needed it more, me or my students. But the dialogue that it allowed to open up within the classroom of where we're at right now, I guess was quite beautiful.
I know we're kind of diverting. I know I just asked you all the classes that are happening, but I want to kind of go off on a tangent here. In figuring out how to teach at a more creatively performance-focused technical school, do you find that you are generating more or you have more freedom to create like more ingenuitive or creative solutions given the freedom that you have in your classes and like how willing your pupils are to learn and adapt as artists are? Does that make any sense?
It does. Yeah, no, I'm picking up what you're putting out there. We have a lot. I mean, I dream about creating. And because we just do what we do, people just buy into it or want to be a part of it, I guess. And we want them to be a part of it. So we create very specifically, though, to connect to joy. That's the whole creation base, is connecting to joy to create the identity in the art, whatever that is.
So Joy School.
Joy School, that's right. Because I've done some work with the Lincoln Center for the past couple of years, and they have probably transformed my whole connection to me as a teacher and as an artist. It's been incredible. So I've taken some of those learnings and put them into Jube School.
I wish everyone could see Karen speak to us. We can see her over a Zoom call, but I don't think any of our guests have leaned in with their heart so much towards the camera as Karen is as she talks about teaching at Jube School or organizing Jube School or creating it.
She also has a huge banner that just says Jube School behind her, which I don't think I've had any guests that have had their topic as so prominently displayed. And I guess that's the standard now. So everyone's got to step their game
and
up.
You know what? That banner behind me, Paula Tim, who's a local visual artist, made that with 250 kids.
Unreal.
250 students left their mark.
How do you even? Oh my
It was
God.
during a Culture Days events where classes just circled through, and Paula Tim, who's truly a master at mark making and doing this type of mural work, 250 students. So then we got the great big mural created into a banner. And here it is behind me. My family loves it.
I can't imagine organizing the advice of 250 adults, let alone 250 young adults. If I was the age that I could go to Jube School, or at least where the younger classes directed, I would just shout, "Purple! I want purple!"
Oh no, we put them into paint smocks. There is no watching at Jube School. You are always doing the thing. So,
Go! Jube School is boots on the ground.
Absolutely. If you're not doing the thing to be the thing, there's no point in doing it.
That's a very, very good slogan. I love that.
You guys keep talking. My battery's dying. I just have to get my plug-in.
Oh, sure. So yeah, kids lined up. They got their colors and up they went. They had 4 different paintbrushes, one that created polka dots, one just a normal paintbrush. They had stencils.
Wow.
Pure magic.
Did I hear you say you had 1,600 online viewers at one event?
That was for the mindfulness event.
That's very high.
Hey, how am I doing? Am I being distracting yet?
No, we hear you loud and clear.
Yeah, good.
I definitely would have plugged it in beforehand, but what are we doing?
Just a minute.
Do you need a hand?
I'm being creative. Just a minute. I'm being mindful. Hold on.
We can't hear you anymore.
What?
Oh,
You can't hear me?
Now we can.
What?
there you go.
Anyway, do you want me to teach a class on this?
I'll say it. No.
No?
We were just talking about her big numbers, how insane 1,600 is for an online thing. One of the largest things is not only adapting all your work and all your creativity over to an online platform, but also convincing your audience to do that, and making it kind of user friendly in that sense. So those are like big numbers to have online at one or a couple events.
One of the things we've learned with online learning is holding space for the quiet. We don't always have to be talking, but we hold space for the quiet and the creative process.
That's beautiful.
Carly and I just taught an online guided drawing. Did a pumpkin painting class with 150 grade 6s. So I know firsthand online, when there's silence, our instinct is to break that silence. And I had a sticky up saying, hold space for the silence. And it was quite beautiful that all the teachers were like, oh, that was great. So it's hard to remember.
I was in a workshop today, and the director who was running it said, I'd love you guys to all have your cameras on because it's nice to, reach out to you. And I understand why you have all yourself muted because, Zoom's hard sometimes that way. But I do sometimes wish that you could have your mics on because although I see you all, I make a joke and then there's about 4 seconds of silence and then I see you all go and just make a big laughing face. And that's how I know it landed rather than me getting that instant feedback. But I do love the idea of making space for silence, not in that there is a lack of feedback, but that the silence is the feedback. Mm-hmm. Or it exists without reaction.
Wow.
I wonder how many people are utilizing that during this time, because our worry right now is to be so engaging and ingenuitive, and it's a because we're so worried about people disassociating from watching a Zoom reading. If there are still moments to take pauses, even in a Zoom class,
I'm all for it.
Yeah,
and it's really hard to do.
Yeah,
but the silence allows for what we've learned. The silence allows for the engagement, the doing of it. If I'm always talking, students feel like they always have to listen, right?
Right.
They're in a class, you listen to the person who's talking. So, yeah, Dean Barham is actually really good at that.
I'm rethinking my entire teaching practice now because I constantly talk all the time.
When I was very, very young, I did a show with Dean Barham at the Calgary Philharmonic. I was young. Am I right about that, Mom? Was that Dean Barham?
Oh, yeah.
Holy crap. Okay, I wanted to make sure.
Was Jonathan Love in it, too?
And Jonathan Love.
Jonathan Love was in it. That's right.
Paintbrush for Piccolo, starring you, Calgary Philharmonic, Johnny Love, and Dean Barham, and Dean Barham's beautiful puppet, Pooch.
That's what I was wondering, right? Is I bet you Dean Barham's work with puppetry, I love the phrase, silence is for the doing. That's so great, because I imagine my favorite part about my tiny little walnut kid brain watching a puppetry do his work up close is the tiny movements when he would just go and the dog would just look up. He was puppeteering a dog. He would just go and so that's silent. It wasn't him going ruff ruff, like he wasn't barking. He was like just one little move up, and that was I think and the most enchanting part really about puppetry at all. The big movements are, of course, they're gorgeous, they're engaging, but it's the nuanced stuff.
Totally.
I'm kind of rambling, but I wonder if his work in puppetry kind of is what led to his appreciation of silence.
Well, and his clowning too, right?
Of course, yes.
Right, that clowning and that puppetry. I've seen him engage kids with those puppets, and they just are all eyes, and he will just move it an inch, and they're like, wow! It's like fireworks went off. Yeah. Dean Barham, magic. And he's so talented, right? And kind with his offerings.
Hurry, we have to move on, or else this whole entire podcast episode will be about Dean Barham. I could talk about him for hours.
Right? Romanticizing Dean Barham.
Let's get Dean on as a guest, but we'll make sure that when you and I and Dean are doing an episode together, Griff, we'll just talk about Karen all the time.
I know we kind of already touched on it, like we've already named some people, but do you want to just give us an idea of your full team right now? Is that crazy?
Oh my
That's going to be a huge question.
It is crazy. So as Jube School facilitators, we have Erin Coates and the amazing and wonderful Carly McKee, who also is part-time in the office. And then in Edmonton, we have the lovely Luke Tellier.
So lovely.
So lovely. But we also have Brendan James Boyd.
Oh, yeah.
Who is kind of like a Dean Barham.
Ooh.
But he has mad puppetry skills, Brendan. So to have him in Jube School teaching kids how to build puppets is amazing.
Tell me more about Brendan, because I don't know who Brendan is. He's an Edmontonian?
Yes, Brendan James Boyd. He does quite a bit. He actually works on movies, building props, but he's this beautiful puppeteer, puppet maker who in Jube School, he honestly just ignites these kids with imagination. Here, I have a puppet.
Okay. This is the described audio video experience. I will describe to you Karen's puppet. Oh.
Oh my God! It's so Sesame Street Avenue Q.
Yeah, big orange head, pigtails.
So imagine 30 grade 4s building these puppets, and then you have Luke guiding them in some sort of storytelling.
I want to take that class.
Breathtaking.
No, knowing those two in a room, they'd be unstoppable.
Unstoppable. Same with Carly and Aaron. It's truly just magic because we never ever start with no. We always start with what if. That's where we're always going when we're designing these times together with classes. What if we did this? Or what if we brought in all of these amazing artists?
Kind of on that note, is there or is there plans or is there conversations around offering a class at Jube School that wouldn't be able to be offered in person, or rather wouldn't it be engaging in person since you've, as you said, become masters of social media and the online world? Is there anything like, I don't know, I saw our lovely theme song composer Alexandra Kalman make a post the other day being like, hey, would somebody's kid be interested if I taught them GarageBand or Audacity? Like, would people be interested in that? Something like, or in those Tech Like a Girl classes, like any of the Q Labs or whatnot, is there any conversations about, exploring a class that will only work digitally or online in that kind of seminar format?
You know, we have talked about this. We're actually just talking about a Jube School online series.
Yeah.
That looks into all of that. We're kind of creating right now what an online series might look like with those elements, and how do we get it out into the rural populations, right?
Yeah.
How do we get it up to Fort McMurray and Grand Prairie and, Milk River? How do we start to connect with our rural populations?
Oh, cool. And would you say that would it be a live online series, or would it be kind of like a pre-recorded masterclass-esque format? Am I asking too many administrative questions? You don't have to know yet.
Well, no, we're toying with both. How's that?
Of course.
I don't have a yes, it's this or it's this. We're honestly in that muck making area.
The muck is where all the good stuff happens.
Speaking of good stuff, I have a young company member at Dirty Laundry named Maisie Denny, who has taken Tech Like a Girl, is part of Tech Like a Girl, raves about Tech Like a Girl. So I just want to spend a bit of time talking about that.
Oh, Tech Like a Girl. So Rebecca Solly and I, it's so funny. So Rebecca Solly at the Jubilee is the technical coordinator, and she kind of looks after all the negotiations with IA 212 and looks after the crew and things like that. Mm-hmm. And she also helps out in Jube School with some of the technical elements. Her and I, at the same time, were like, what if we had a program just for female identifying students? And it was like, yeah. So last year we did a pilot online. This year it's in person, and we have 10 amazing students who are in grade 10 all the way up to second year university.
That is amazing.
I know a lot of the work, especially the in-person stuff, is directed towards kind of a younger audience. Am I right that a lot of the courses are open to like anybody, or am I crazy?
No, Jube School is actually for grades 1 through 12.
Oh yeah,
and
great.
We actually do get junior high and high schools coming in for a whole week.
Man, I wish I had some Jube School classes when I was in junior high. That would be awesome.
Right? But we also have our tech program where high school technical classes can come to the Jubilee for the day. We get them on the soundboard and lighting on the flies. But then we also go into their space and make sure they take the information they learned at the Jubilee and actually know how to apply it back into their space.
Right.
So we do that as well.
Kind of like a Jube School house call.
Totally. That's a beautiful
Maisie
way.
has saved our dirty laundry butt a number of times.
Oh,
So she's a walking proof.
she is fierce, that one. Like, I think these girls are actually going to take over the world.
Yay!
They are just go-getters and no fear.
All right, let's get down to the brass tacks, everybody. Where do people go to find out more about Jube School? How do people get involved? We need the proof of your social media mastery.
Right?
Where do we follow you? What's the site? Hit me.
At Jube School. Instagram, Twitter, Facebook, Pinterest,
That's brand management, people. Take notes.
and YouTube. So handle is at Jube School. And of course, you can go jubileeauditorium.com to our little Jube School section, and it has all about our programs there and how to get involved.
That's amazing. Oh, I love that you guys got Jube School on every social media.
If Cartley had her way, we'd be on TikTok and Snapchat as well.
I was just going to make a joke about that, but I love that she's on it.
She is all over. Carly is a whiz at social media. She knows every platform, and she's like, well, what about this? And she's always kind of testing and guessing and figuring it out. She's amazing.
Karen, this has been such a joy.
Joy is the key word when it comes to Karen Youngberg.
All right, we like to end our episodes with a breakfast-themed question that Karen usually improvises as she's a professional improviser. But for a second, let's take a moment for the silence. But not too much, because this is an audio-based medium. So, Karen, you're a professional improviser. What's her breakfast-themed question? Here we go, 3, 2, 1.
If you were going to make the most joyous breakfast, what would it be?
Pancakes, bacon, and whipped cream.
You had that in your shotgun barrel ready to go.
There was no hesitation on that one.
I know what I like.
Her face lit up with, I was hoping you would ask.
That's right.
Let me tell ya.
I have to take a quick second and express my joy and gratitude to our funders, the Calgary Arts Development Authority, the Rose Foundation, and the Calgary Foundation. The intro music you just heard and the outro music you're about to hear is by Alexander Cameron, who may or may not be teaching Audacity and GarageBand classes soon, so stay focused on her social medias to check that out. And all of the graphic design has been done by Morgan Ermter. Karen, what else is going on this week?
Let me tell you, speaking of Jube, I want to talk about what's happening at Jubilations Dinner Theater.
Speaking of Jube,
I'm the queen of segues, like seriously. Over at Jubilations Dinner Theater, they are presenting Rockin' the Jukebox. It's a 3-act musical. Your ticket includes the 3-act musical comedy, a 4-course dinner, and refillable tea and coffee. This is a live, in-person, COVID-safe show. It's an all-ages show. You can buy tickets online or you can phone 403-249-7799. Jubilations Dinner Theater at 1002 37th Street Southwest. The other thing I wanted to talk about is at the Lougheed House, you can have guided museum tours. You know what? I was living 22 years in the city before I ever went there. Not only do they have excellent brunch, but it's a beautiful, beautiful national and provincial historic site at 707 13th Avenue Southwest. You'll go downtown, you'll see that beautiful building, and you'll go, oh, that's what that is? Oh, cool, I didn't know that.
They do a lot of cool things. They just did Sage Theater's Halloween readings. They did Thou Art Here's roving Shakespeare show. They do so much cool
It's
stuff.
an arts hub. It started in September. It goes until November 20th. The prices are $10 to $12. Go to Eventbrite, EVENTBRITE is where you will find tickets for the Lougheed House guided museum tours. That's it.
And what a list it was. Karen Youngberg, you have brought us so much joy by joining us on The Breakfast Dish. I feel very connected to joy. Joy. I love joy, and joy is here to joy. Holy night. It's snowing outside. Joy time.
A joyful experience all the way around.
Thank you for being part of our joy today.
Thank you for bringing me joy.
And thank you, everybody, for listening. All right, goodbye, everybody.
Bye.
This has been The Breakfast Dish.